Hello, Mr. Panesar, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
That's good to hear, sir. How have you been coping up with the COVID period?
Yeah, it's been really good actually. I think we've got the pubs reopened again, and also schools are looking to open as well. I think it's been a quite an interesting time for people.
Absolutely, absolutely. First of all, it is an absolute pleasure of the entire cricket team to have you today on our show. Thank you so much for your time, and we've got a list of questions ready from a lot of your fans, which we've put up in the comment section. That if you have any questions for Mr. Panesar, we've gotten a lot of questions, and your fans are quite ready to have a beautiful session with you today evening.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Panesar, moving on, so a lot of cricketers, a lot of sportsmen. I've been interviewing a lot of sportsmen during the COVID period. So this is one question that I've been asking them constantly: how difficult it is as a sportsman, how frustrating it is as a sportsman to sit back at home, not going out there in the field, if not to practice cricket, at least to do their fitness. How this period has been, in a way, very frustrating or maybe fruitful for you from your end.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting time because gyms are being opened again, and you can go to the gym. You can do outdoor running in the parks. So options are there for people, but sometimes some people don't feel safe, going to the gym. I've been to the gym myself. There's not a lot of people there, but I find that some people obviously find it easier to do individual exercises.
Absolutely, absolutely. But we are indeed very, very sure now cricket is coming up, reviving up very, very soon. We've got the title sponsor logged in today as Dream 11. And looking forward, I mean, especially as a cricket fan, as a cricket fanatic, this has been the best news for me in the year 2020. I hope it has been the best news for you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been great news that the IPL is going to start again, and a lot of cricket fans around the world would enjoy watching, the IPL.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Panesar, moving on to the session today, while a research team was actually researching about you and a beautiful, astounding career that you've had over the years. So, I was very inquisitive to ask you this question that before, I mean, once you were practicing cricket in your early days, you were a fast bowler, and you were a fast bowler until your coach insisted you to become a left arm spinner. So, what are your, I mean, if you could throw back on those days and tell us something about those moments?
Yeah, I guess I was a 14-year-old, and Paul Taylor told me then, that I think it was quite good for me to maybe change to left arm spin, and I did as well. And when I did change to left arm spin, I think it was a good decision for me. I managed to get some wickets.
Absolutely, that was a wise decision from you and your coach. I mean, England would have missed out on a very beautiful spinner, would have missed out on an astounding spinner. I mean, hats off to you and your coach and your deadly efforts that you've put forward. And so again, Mr. Panessa, moving forward, I have been really missing your county cricket days. Looking back, you bowling with that much amount of passion, with that much amount of dedication to get wicket on every ball. So if you could throw back and throw some light on your county cricket days, and also more importantly, why and how did. Hello.
Yeah, sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, I was inquisitive to know about your county cricket days. I mean, I was really astounding. Your days playing for your county cricket team has been really, really phenomenal. So I wanted to know if you could throw some light on your county cricket days, and also why did you choose the profession of cricket? I mean, when did you think about taking up cricket as a profession, and when did you feel like that I'm going to play for my country?
Yeah, well, I think it's about opportunity, timing as well. Sometime I was very lucky that when I did really well, the next tour was to the subcontinent, both Pakistan and India. Now, if sometimes it's about timing of everything as well, and everything, the timing was perfect for me then. So yeah, it. I think with a lot of cricket. you need the right tour, to be taking place in a few months' time. And sometimes some players, they perform so really well, but they just, it's just not the right time for them. While others, great example is Mike Hussey. He used to play at Northants. He used to score so many runs, but he just never got a look in the Australian team. And the reason being was because Australia was so strong.
Yes.
So for that reason, he had to go through the longevity of scoring lots and lots of runs, and he did that with Northampton. I even batted with him once when he scored a triple century against Gloucester. So he was batting 1 and I was at 11. So can you see, his hunger for runs? And each person's journey is different. Some people just fall into it, right time, right place. Like me, last year of university, last 8 games, I bowled, took 50 wickets in 8 games. Half the season I took, so many wickets that the next tour in the winter was India. It could have been Australia, South Africa, could be somewhere else. I don't think I would have got a look in. So, certain players should, manage, be smart and manage and understand, right, there's an opportunity here. I've got maybe an Australian tour coming up or a subcontinent tour coming up, then I obviously want to do really well when I'm, playing against spin. Then if I want to go to Australia, I want to, score lots of runs. So, that's how players should look to plan ahead, because what it does, it makes you then perform better. You have a more purpose to your performance. And that's the thing with me. I said to myself, look, at 23, I want to perform really well, for Northampton, and then maybe I'll have a chance to go to the, on tour to India, and that's what happened. And I never thought I'll play, but sometimes you just keep persevering and working hard. That can happen.
Absolutely. Rightly pointed. I mean, that's a fantastic point that you pointed out, Mr. Panesar. It's very, very important talking about you having a perfect blend of not only the fortune, but the hard work, the dedication that you've put in under your profession, which is beautiful left arm spin out there playing for England. So again, as you rightly pointed out, Mr. Panesar, that it was none other than the team India that you played against. So taking back to those days, again, taking back to Nagpur in 2006, your wickets included 2 all-time favorite batsmen for India, at least, which were Sachin and Dravid. That must have been a great experience for you. Indeed, a fantastic way to start off your international career. So, if you could throw some light on those moments, what was going on in your mind, or did you plan on taking those wickets, or did you just look forward to them as just a normal batsman? What was your moment like?
Yeah, I think when you're playing against some of the greatest, batsmen ever, and I think at that time I was very lucky. I had the opportunity to bowl against, probably some of the greatest batsmen Indian cricket ever produced, and you kind of have to work really hard on your process. You have to work hard on, how do I bowl not good balls, but how do I bowl, a collectively good over. That's that's what gets you wickets. That's how you're going to get the great players out. Good bowlers, maybe get the good batsmen out by bowling, a magic ball or something amazing, but to consistently get great players out, you have to repeat good overs. So it could take you up to 30 to 36 balls. That's the sort of plan you're looking at to get a wicket. And, that what happened. That I tend to find that I used to bowl really well against the better the player, because it would just get my focus. I'll focus better, I'll have a better process. And I knew that I'm not going to get him out straight away, but I'll probably get this batsman out in the 7th or the 8th over. If I've bowled well enough, I should able to get this guy out. But if I haven't bowled well enough and that captain takes me off, then it shows that I didn't consistently get good overs in. So I think that's what it was. Whenever I bowled against the better players, I always thought about repeated good overs, so then it will lead to a wicket.
Absolutely, that's indeed a very right mindset, especially for a bowler out there who's being under pressure, playing against the best of best. But again, that's a rightly point that you mentioned out. A lot of budding cricketers, a lot of professional cricketers watching us live out here. That's a fantastic golden tip that you could take from Mr. Panesar. He's been the bestest of best, played, seen, bestest of best, worst of experiences, and I am sure his experiences are going to count for you all out here. And this session is out here to help you. If in case you have any doubts, if you have any questions, more importantly, in terms of cricket tips, in terms of his cricketing journey, you can please let us know in the comment section, and we'll try to cover it in the session. So moving on, Mr. Panesar, we just have a small quick game for you. It's called as the cricketing memory test. So what we do out here is we're going to name you 3 cricket players that you've played with during your England cricket days, and you have to just tell their jersey number or their back t-shirt number out there. So I'm just going to give you 3 names. Those are quite popular names. So just to test your cricketing memory if it's still out there. So the first cricketer is KP, Kevin Peterson.
24.
Absolutely correct. Next one out there, Stuart Broad.
8.
Absolutely correct. And there's Alistair Cook.
13.
Come on, no. Just I'll give you another guess.
1 or 7?
No, it's 26.
26, okay.
26, absolutely. No worries. That was a good score. 2 out of 3 is indeed never a bad score. Moving on again, Mr. Panesar, talking about you and Steve Hamilton, when you took 19 wickets in an innings and won against Pakistan in Manchester. That was a very rare achievement indeed. Maybe you could tell us a bit about that. You are a spinner and Steve was a finisher. If you could throw some light on that moment.
Yeah, look, that was a good memory for me. I bowled really well, on that day. And some days you have these sort of days where everything just clicks and the ball's coming up beautiful out of your hand. And that's what happened on that day. Ball was coming out lovely, and I really enjoyed, my bowling. And when you have them sort of days, you want to make the most of it. You want to get as many wickets as you can. And I was, very pleased, very pleased on that day.
Yes, absolutely. Again, moving on, I've got this one beautiful question from one of your fans. His name is Rutik. He's asked you, because even he's a lefty bowler, he doesn't play cricket at a professional level, but he has that inquisitive question to ask you is, if you could have, or if you could plan on something having from a left-arm spinner's perspective, what would that be and how?
I think left-arm spin is difficult at the moment. Well, I think any spin is, because we've got T20 and, you look at Rashid Khan, who bowls quick leggies, doesn't turn it much, and he bowls it into the pitch. So I think in T20, you want the batsman to hit square of the wicket. If the boundaries are long, square of the wicket. If it's short, straight, you got to bowl into the wicket, and bowl fast, so they hit, either deep mid wicket or into cover, deep cover as well. But if they hit you straight, that's going to be difficult when you bowl it quick and fast. So then when you play test match cricket or 4-day cricket, you have to bowl it with a bit more flight. So it takes, you've got to have different game plans for different T20, 1-dayers and test match. And then you've got to adjust, because you can't bowl quick and fast in 4-day cricket, because you have to bowl it with shape and loop. But if you do that in T20, they'll go out of the ground for 6. So that's how you've got to adjust your game plan.
Absolutely, that's a beautiful point. You mentioned about Mr. Panesar. Mr. Panesar, I can see a lot of your fans asking you to wave them. So if you could just wave them and say hello out there. And also, we have one person named Mahesh Kutty out here. He's one of the founders of Cricket Wicket Pace that we're talking about. He's asking you, which was that spinner that you looked up to while your cricketing days? Once you were young out there, who was it one spinner that you looked up to? Him, I want to become like him, or I want to bowl like him.
For me, it was always Bisham Bailey, because he was from Northampton, left-arm spinner himself, and he used to turn the ball, and I think, at times I emulated, a little bit like him, but I think time had changed. Then people, when they sweep the ball, was given out. Now, when you bowl the same way, they sweep, they don't give you out unless it's really plumb. So you could have bowled it with a bit of air, but I think now you've got to bowl it with a bit more pace and get shape on it, because you can't bowl it slowly because then it gets hit out of the ground. So different times with it, people change, but actions, the game of cricket has never changed. And I try to have my bowling same as Bisham Bedi.
Absolutely, he was one hell of a legend. I mean, talking about Bisham Bedi, he's taken absolute wickets. He's inspired a lot of cricketers out there, and I'm very happy and in a way very inspired to know that you are inspired from Mr. Bisham Singh Bedi. So now moving forward, we have one of your fans asking you if you're ever planning to have a comeback into cricket now.
Well, I've tried. I'm 38, and I've spoken to friends and family. They go, put yourself in a situation of a coach. Would you, if you was a cricket coach, would you want to sign a 38-year-old, or would you want to invest in a youngster that, if he does really well in the next couple of years, we can get at least 5 years out of this person? Now, with me at 38, that's the kind of stuff. That's the conversation my friends and family have with me. He goes, Monty, think logically. Do you really think a coach would want to invest in you at 38, even though you can bowl well or whatever? And I think that's my difficulty now because of my age. If there's a coach who thinks, what, I need an experienced spinner, or I need the experience of Monty, maybe we'll give him a coach, hashtag cricket coach kind of role, coach player role, where I can play as well as I'm coaching, and that coach may think, what, being around Monty, how he trains, how he bowls will benefit the youngsters. It really depends on the vision of the coach, because I think a lot of cricket coaches at the moment, they're investing in their own youngsters, and especially like local. There's a pressure to produce your local cricketers, and under the age of 25, that county gets money as well from the ECB for playing youngsters. So a lot of county coaches who don't have a lot of money, they're going to think, well, we can't really play Monty because he's 38. I'd rather play the youngster because we get money for him. But also, maybe it could help if we have Monty in as a coach. And then if we do need to play him, desperate measures, he's there, but he can help the young spinners come through, So it really depends on the coach's visions, because sometimes, when you're an international cricketer and you're a player, you may experience, and then therefore you could be a threat to the person who hasn't played international cricket but is a head coach or a batting or a spin coach. Youngsters are always going to warm towards the international cricketer, aren't they? They're not going to go towards the other cricketer. They'll be like, oh yeah, Monty's on the coaching staff. And if your coaching skills are good, then that's the sort of stuff where I've got to tick the right boxes for the cricket coach and everything. There's got to be within that organisation, they've got to feel comfortable that if we bring Monty into a cricket club, into our county, he can maybe coach the spinners, coach the under-19s, under-17s, the young spinners coming through. Monty has bowl at our staff as well, so it gives them good practice. And then if we knew to play Monty in a match, we could do. But he's there to help the younger generation come through. And I think that could be a good option. But I have asked about playing, and that's the question my friends and family ask me. They go, look, Monty, you think about it logically now. You're 38. Who is going to sign a 38-year-old? If you was a cricket coach, would you sign a 38-year-old who hasn't played for 2-3 years? And then I'm like, well, it makes sense. I wouldn't want to sign a 38-year-old. I would rather sign an academy player or a youngster. So now you think, how would you get Monty back in the game? How would Monty go back in the game if you was a coach and you had to sign Monty Panesar, right? And it's difficult. It's so difficult. I remember Alex Stewart said to me, because Monty is so difficult to get back in the game once you're out of it. And, that's the difficulty. A lot of county coaches just want youngsters to play, and they don't want to, and local as well. I'm sure over in India, each state want to promote their own local talent, and if that local talent makes it to India or the international level, then there's a lot of subsidies as well. They get a lot of money as well for that. So it's a vision, isn't it? It's a coach who has that vision. Think, actually, you know what? Let me see what Monty is like with his experience as an international cricketer. What can he help with our young spinners? And if he's a good coach, and if he's very good, then maybe one of the guys said maybe mentor the younger players, and then the county team can get a feel of like, well, what is he like, and sometimes it's a visual learning as well. Like young spinners, batters, they learn a lot more if I'm bowling to them in training as well as coaching. So it's a both way kind of thing. But it's that answer. I think my friends and family they've given me the answer. They said, look, he's going to sign a 38-year-old. If you was a coach if you was a cricket coach, would you sign yourself? And I'm like, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't sign myself, At 38, what am I going to get out of Monty? Maybe 2 years at best. I'd rather invest in a youngster, 18-year-old, get 2 years out of that, from 21 to 25, get 5 years out of it. That's how the coaches think. So I don't know how I'm going to get back in the game. I've asked, but I also know the honesty as well. So yeah, it's hope. I hope, I'll keep myself fit. I hope it may happen one day.
Absolutely, I'm very, very optimistic that that will definitely happen that day. And I firmly believe, Monty, the current Monty might be old at age, but he's young at heart. He's got a big heart. If he doesn't go on the field as a player, he'll definitely create some international champions out there. And he's definitely going to help a lot of budding cricketers out there with his amazing experience. And I'm very, very sure if not as a player, if definitely as a coach and definitely as a mentor, he's definitely going to help a lot of budding cricketers be out there, play for his international team, and again be out there and say, yeah, it was Monty who helped me become what I am today. So we are very optimistic on that part. Again, Monty, now we've moved to the retirement part of it. So Dhoni recently got his retirement from international cricket. So what is your viewpoint on that? Would he have been stayed there for a couple of more years, or he took the right decision of retiring and being there at the safe place?
Yeah, look, I think Dhoni could have stayed. He could have just prolonged it, but then he's probably thinking, whenever Independence Day happens every year from now on, everyone's going to think that's when Dhoni retired as well. And that's going to live forever now, for the next 50 to 100 years. And I think that probably outweighs more than maybe Dhoni making, cricket comeback. So, look, I think he's done it perfectly well. He's able to, he's won everything. There's nothing else to win now. He's won all the trophies he wants to win. So what a perfect way to retire on Independence Day.
Absolutely, that is indeed beautiful. I mean, again, talking about Dhoni has some real firm dedication towards even the Indian Army, towards the Indian defense. So I'm maybe sure we've heard from a lot of sources that post cricket, he's going to go there and serve himself as into the Indian Army. So we are pretty optimistic that the decision that he's taken is going to help a lot of budding cricketers, and he's always been that person with big heart, as you rightly mentioned, that he will keep himself behind if in order to have a good youngster out there and performing well. This is what he firmly believes in since the very beginning.
Yeah, that's another issue as well. Similar age to me, and if you're not performing very well, you're stopping a youngster coming through to get the same experience. So, it depends on performances. If you're like in your sort of 30s and 35 plus, approaching 40, and you're performing really well, then there's no reason why they can't, keep you in the team. But also it's up to you as an individual. You kind of think, how many years do I want to keep playing? I've won all the trophies I want to win. but then there's some, it's also like, you know, you earn really good money as well, when you're playing, you know,
The international.
international level or high IPL or whatever. So I'm sure some of the older players will probably think, I want to play as long as I can because I probably won't earn this sort of money. Because then, as long as you're still playing, then you can keep getting the sponsorships, you keep, getting your match fees. So, there's that to it as well. And they just want to sort of make the most of it, earn as much as they can. And they should do as well. Because if they're performing really well, then let them keep earning as much money as they can. Because the more you earn, then, ideal situation is always earn as much as you can during your playing days, because then it's easier. You come closer to retirement, and you don't have to. Then you live a comfortable life. Live a nice, easy, comfortable life. And I think players deserve that. They've worked really hard, and they've done amazing things for their country, for their teams. And why not? Why not prolong it as long as they can?
Absolutely. You rightly pointed out the players, given their whole dedication, they even put their entire career at stake, deciding between studies and deciding between cricket as a profession. So you rightly pointed out, players do deserve a comfortable, a luxurious life post-retirement, because they put in everything out there, compromising their families, compromising their parents, compromising everything out there for cricket. So they absolutely deserve that, Monty. That was a great point you mentioned. Monty, we are now moving on. We in the cricket team have planned a throwback Tuesday for you. That throwback Tuesday is a magical ball that you bowled to Sachin and got him out. Also, the very famous Namaste celebration that you did to him. When and how did that Namaste celebration came into your mind?
Well, it was just, I think he gave his wicket away. He should have probably just blocked me, and then the next over got his 100. But I think his knee was hurting when he was playing, and he tried to hit me over cover, and I was bowling these fast starts, and he went into, somehow he caught it and got him out. But I think Sachin at his best, you probably didn't want to get him out. And at that day at the Oval, he was playing really well. Like we all just wanted him to get 100, because when he's like, there's something about it when you watch him live and he scores 100, and it's like. It's like you just want him to score runs. You don't want him to get out. It's just it's unbelievable when he's like. I've never seen anyone bat so complete like he does.
He's one of the legends, absolutely.
Lead batsman, yeah. Amazing.
That is the reason he's absolutely called the master blaster of cricket in India. A lot of people out there, even if Sachin is not there in the stadium, but people will keep on chanting his name. That is how it recalls how much of a big legend he was, and he will be, of cricket in India especially.
I think, I know everyone gives him the legendary status, but I think it's just, just how good he is. He's like, when you see something in real life and then you compare it with all the other batters, he was like the way he placed the ball, it'll be like inch perfect. The way he middled it, and it felt like that you would be on the pitch, but it felt like you might as well just not field. You might as well just have an empty stadium, empty pitch, because he's going to place the gap anyway. Like when he was at his best, you felt like, when you're just like Sabutio, when you have on you have Sabutio and you just stand there and you can't do anything, and he just places the gap and he just goes. That's like, I've never seen a batsman like that. He's like at his best. He was just unbelievable. He's like Virat Kohli doesn't come close to Sachin. I know people talk about the record, right?
Yes.
But Virat Kohli played. He didn't play against the West Indies, where there was Ambrose, Courtney Walsh. Sri Lanka had Muralitharan, Jaminda Vas. Australia had Shane Warne, Glenn McGrath. South Africa had Anil Donald, Sean Pollock, right? Pakistan had Wasim Akram, Waqar Younis. England had, likes of Darren Gough, Steve Harmison. Right? So when people talk about, comparisons, it's like, whenever you look at Virat, whenever he's up against a top bowler, he gets out. There's no Shane Warne or Muralitharan he has to deal with. Jimmy Anderson got him out easily when he was doing really well. So I reckon he's scored runs against a much easier attack. This, from 2010, this area, Tendulkar was he scored runs against a much harder attack, I would say.
And even when you talk about other things developing alongside cricket, which is the technology of cricket, the right nutrition, the right supplements which have now come up in place, has helped a lot of cricketers now grow and develop. But those were the things which are not available or not quite developed during those eras when Sachin played, a 16-year-old guy being out there getting hit on the head, but still he was so firm. His mindset was so firm that I'm going to play for my country and I'm going to make them win, because if I don't do it now, when will I do it next? So you rightly pointed out, and there could have been no comparison, because Sachin is Sachin and Virat is one of the greatest. I completely agree to your point, but again, what you said is absolutely correct. There's no kind of a comparison between them. Sachin is where he is and Virat is where he is.
Yeah, and I think that's what Virat should openly say that. They say that you guys are comparing me. I'll be honest with you, Sachin scored runs against a much harder attack than I played. He shouldn't even think about putting himself on the same bracket as Sachin, because he isn't. He knows that as well. If you scored runs against Shane Warne and Muralitharan, right, in Sri Lanka, then then even we would whatever. But look, let's be honest. He's playing in I think the bowlers are much easier now than they were when Sachin played. So if he openly says that, I think people have a lot more respect for Virat Kohli.
Yes.
He should openly say that.
Well, a lot of people are now, in a way, comparing Virat and Sachin. A clear sentence from Virat Kohli answers it all, when he said that he looked up to Sachin while he was growing, while he was becoming a cricketer. I mean, that sentence, that statement from Virat Kohli answers it all for a lot of people comparing him and Sachin. I mean, in a way, there could have been no comparison between them. They both have been in a very different places. They've played under beautiful circumstances, and their situations have been quite different, and there could have been no comparison. You rightly pointed out, Monty. I mean, it was a great discussion having with you today, especially the Sachin Virat discussion, which is a very hot discussion of a topic, especially in India out here. I mean, people would leave their work out there, but sit and have a chat on this over a tea, over a cup of coffee. And I'm looking forward to have a beautiful session with you once again when we meet in person, especially the Sachin Virat topic out there. Moving on, we just have one rapid fire session for you. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. This is in this rapid fire. All that you've got to do is whatever or whoever is the first name, the first thing that comes to your mind, you've just got to take that name, irrespective of thinking twice. Okay. So the first one, I have a quick bouncer for you, which is, who is the favorite spinner of all time of yours?
Shane Warne.
Absolutely correct. A Yorker for you, cricketer who inspired you the most?
Andrew Flintoff.
Andrew Flintoff, absolutely. He's a legend, absolutely. Moving on, third one is a slow one, a doosra for you, which is the most difficult batsman you've bowled to?
Graham Smith.
Pardon, I couldn't hear you.
Graham Smith.
Graham Smith. Okay. We have 2 more for you out there. One is 3 favorite international cricketers of yours. The current cricket players who are playing out there for their national team.
Yeah, Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, and Ben Stokes.
Absolutely. Ben Stokes is one of the legends. I mean, he's having a fantastic time out there on the field. And he's been one of the greatest all-rounders that England has ever produced, is what I personally feel out there. Last but not the least, I have is your favorite spin action.
Nathan Lyon.
Nathan Lyon is one of the greatest. Have you watched Kedar Jadhav bowl? I personally feel Kedar Jadhav and Nathan Lyon in a way have a very kind of a similar bowling action out there. What are your views on that?
Nah, Nathan Lyon's better, because in Australia pitches, ball doesn't turn. So spinner, to be good, you have to be a good spinner in Australia.
Absolutely. Nathan Lyon is indeed, I mean, apart from his bowling action, the appearance that he comes up with those white powders out there on the field. I mean, the batsman does get definitely strange out there. Like, oh my God, now I'm gonna get out, especially with his effects that he comes up to. I'm sure he's one of the legends, and I personally been a right arm spinner, and I've been looking forward to hitting lines since my very childhood. So Monty, just one last question before we allow you to leave, which is on where the topic that we began to with the session at the beginning, which is IPL is around the corner. Your top four that you think will be out there, the top four teams will be out there this season, because it's going to be a change of the entire thing. It's going to take place in Dubai, much of a heat conditions out there, no fans. So what do you think? What are the top four from your end?
Delhi will be good. Delhi's a strong team.
Okay.
Yeah, Delhi. Kolkata, that's another strong team. Hyderabad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a strong team. And Mumbai Indians.
Absolutely. I mean, these four are again one of the bestest teams out there. It's going to be a difficult IPL out there for us to predict who's going to win this year. But I'm absolutely sure and optimistic that the top four teams that you took are going to be up there. Those are, in a way, teams who are still developing apart from Mumbai Indians out there. But I'm very optimistic they're going to be the ones out there and perform really, really well this year's IPL season.
Yes.
So Monty, it was our absolute pleasure from the entire cricket team to have you around on our session today, and it was an absolute pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for your time out there, giving us some quality cricket time, some cricket talks out there, and I'm personally looking forward to meet you in person once the COVID situation normalizes. Until then, stay home, stay safe, and I hope everybody in your family is doing quite good and well.